beautiful sweet friends, how you doing today? It's me, Sharita Jones, checking back in with another video. Hey guys, it's time for another episode of It's Hard Out Here for a Temp. Sing it with me. You know it's hard out here for a temp when you're trying to get this money for the rent. You know it's hard out here for a temp when you're trying to get this money for the rent. Guys, here's another chapter in my series, It's Hard Out Here for a Temp. Let me tell you another story from my life as a temp. It's a tale of confusion and unexpected expertise and the frustration of being a temporary fix in a world that needs long-term solution, guys. I call this one the temp who solved the puzzle. It started on a rainy Monday morning, guys. My recruiter called me about a new assignment at a mid-sized manufacturing company. Their accounts receivable department was in disarray, guys. Disarray. And they needed someone to come in and clean up a backlog of payments and invoices. They've been struggling for months, my recruiter said. Just go in, get it sorted out, make us look good, he said. He said, make us look good. He said, oh, and try not to ask too many questions. They don't want someone stirring up the pot, just fixing the mess. He just wants you to go in there and not ask questions. Now, I'm going to have to ask questions because I need to go in there and find out where I need to apply the data to clean up the backlog of the payments and clean up the backlog of the invoices. Go figure. Guys, this happens all the time. The temp agency wants you to make them look good because they don't want you to mess up the account. And then the company don't want you asking too many questions because they don't want to train you at all. I walked into the office and I was greeted by Cheryl, the head of AR. She was the head of the AR department. She looked frazzled, like someone hadn't had a good night's rest and sleep, guys, in years. She looked like she had been up for years. She said, welcome, barely looking up from her computer, guys. She barely looked up at me. She said, we're glad you're here. She said it like that. She said, we're glad you're here. Just take that desk over there. That's what she said. She just pointed over there. Just take that desk over there. And then she said, take that desk over there and start sorting through those files. She said, you see those files over there? Start sorting through those. Now, the question is, do what with the files? As I sort through what? It's kind of like doing laundry. Where do I put these clothes? What goes with what? The desk that Cheryl pointed to was buried, guys, under a mounting of papers, stacks of invoices, stacks of payment notices, and a whole bunch of customer disputes. It looked like a scene from Hoarders, the Office edition. Real talk. It just had so much paper. It looked like a scene from Hoarders. I sat down, I rolled up my sleeves, guys, and I got to work. It didn't take long to see why they were in trouble. Their system, guys, was a mess. Payments were misapplied. Invoices were missing, like tons of invoices were missing. And the worst part about it is no one seemed to care and no one seemed to know what was going on. I started with the basics, reconciling payments and identifying which invoices were still outstanding. But as I dug deeper, guys, I noticed something strange. There were payments from customers that didn't match any of the invoices. Large sums of money, huge sums of money, were just sitting in a suspense account with no explanation whatsoever. It was like trying to put together a puzzle with missing pieces. So how can you do that? How can you put together a puzzle with missing pieces? I went to Cheryl and I asked about the discrepancies. She said, oh, those. We've been meaning to figure that out, but we haven't had time, she said, waving it off. She just kept doing this. She said, oh, never mind. She said, just leave them there for now and focus on the open invoices. Her response didn't sit right with me. Suspense accounts weren't supposed to just be sitting here, guys, lingering. They were red flags, and ignoring them could lead to bigger problems. I was just a temp, so what did I know? Go figure, right? And the more questions I asked, the more I got waved off. Just don't worry about that. That's what she kept saying. Don't worry about that. The next day, I came across a payment from a major customer that didn't make any sense. It was a large wire transfer, but there was no invoice attached to it. There was nothing to match to that large wire payment. I decided to dig a little deeper, pulling up old emails and cross-referencing records in order to try to figure out where did this large wire go. That's when I found it, an email from the customer. It was sent months ago, guys, asking for clarification on their billing. It had been marked as read, but never answered. I took the email to Cheryl, expecting her to be alarmed, like I thought she was gonna be shocked. Instead, she just sighed. Yeah, that's been sitting there for a while, she said. She said, we didn't know how to respond, so we just didn't. What? I couldn't believe it, guys. Real talk. I have to laugh because you're like, wait, this how y'all been running this department? I couldn't believe it. You didn't respond to one of your biggest customers? Guys, you gotta be kidding me. She shrugged. She said, we've been understaffed. It happens. That's what she kept saying. She's like, it happens. We've been understaffed. It happens all the time. That's when I realized why they were so far behind. This is why. It wasn't just a lack of manpower. It was a lack of accountability. Everyone was so focused on putting out fires that no one was looking at the bigger picture. But here's the thing about being a temp. You're expected to come in, fix problems, but you're not given the authority to make real changes. I mean, real changes. I could clean up the backlog, but without addressing the root cause, it would just pile up again and again and again after I left. By the end of my first week, I had a clear picture, a bigger picture of what was going on. The suspense account was full of payments, I mean millions of dollars, that had been applied because no one had bothered to investigate them. Some of the issues were dated back over a year. I decided to take the risk. I decided to take a risk. I stayed late one evening pulling together a report that detailed the issues that I had found, right? And my recommendation for fixing them. This is me putting together something so I can share with Cheryl. It wasn't part of my job description, but I couldn't just ignore it, guys. I wanted to help. I literally wanted to make a difference. The next morning, I handed the report to Cheryl. Cheryl said, "This is great," she said as she was flipping through it. "But we don't have the resources to implement all of this." This is what Cheryl said. She said, "Just keep working on the backlog, okay? Thank you for the report, though. Thank you." I was frustrated, but I kept going. Over the next few weeks, I cleaned up their records, reconciled their payments, and even managed to resolve a few long-standing disputes with the customers. But the bigger problems, guys, the lack of communication, the mismanagement, the chaotic system that they had, that all remained untouched. All of that remained untouched. On my last day, thank God, hallelujah, on my last day, Cheryl thanked me for my hard work. She said, "You've been such a big help, Sharita. Thank you, you've been such a big help. We're finally getting caught up," she said. "We're finally getting caught up." I wanted to feel proud, guys, of what I've accomplished, but I couldn't shake the feeling that my efforts were just a Band-Aid. It was just a Band-Aid, guys, over a broken system. I wasn't too upset because of that broken Band-Aid is the reason why I'm a temp. The reason why they keep calling me to come in and fix that Band-Aid. So I guess I have job security, right? Because of their lack of accountability and their broken systems. Being a temp is like being a mechanic who's only allowed to change the oil while the engine is falling apart. What is that, right? You see the problems, you know how to fix them, but you're not giving the tools or the authority to do it. It's hard out here for a temp. Especially when you care enough, guys, to want to make a real difference. You want to make a real difference. But at the end of the day, all you can do is your best and hope that someone somewhere will take it from there, and change the world from there. You just pass the baton and you go, you change the world. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Thank you. Sing it with me. You know it's hard out here for a temp when you're trying to get this money for the rent. You know it's hard out here for a temp when you're trying to get this money for the rent. You know it's hard. It's hard out here for a temp. Hey, it's hard out here for a temp. It's hard out here for a temp. Clap, 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 clap. Hey, clap, 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 clap. Hey, hey, clap, 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 clap. Hey, clap, 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 clap. It's hard out here for a temp. Hey, it's hot out here for a temp. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome back to another episode, guys. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. God bless y'all. Thank y'all so much for always liking, watching, commenting, and subscribing. And I'll see y'all in the next episode of It's Hard Out Here for a Temp. It's hard out here for a temp. Love y'all. Have a good day. Bye for now.